Well, Hogan for the Boxing Voice. I'm here with Xavier Miller here at Wembley. Beautiful sunny day. You spoke to my American boss and there's a couple of days ago, I know, so thanks for joining us again. So you've come from sunny Algarve to sunny London. Doesn't usually happen. Happy with the training camp, all of that?
Well, first of all, listen, big shout out to Ness. You know, me and Ness, we built up a good relationship. You know, we talk, and it's welcome to come on there anytime. And I think it's Danny who works them as well. You know, big up to everybody at the Boxing Voice. It's one of my favourite channels in America. But yeah, listen, it's not just this training camp. You know, it's the last 3-4 training camps. You know, since I got appointed as head coach, I spoke to Dillian and said, yeah, we need to work on this and that. And some of it we had to go back to basics. But to be fair to Dillian, the past 2 years he's worked so hard on getting these things right. And I think this is the perfect time now. I mean, it couldn't be a better time to have a world title shot. He's boxed all the right people he needs to have boxed to get to this point, and I just can't wait for it. I can't wait for Saturday. Seriously, can't wait.
A bit like the other 95,000 of us.
I'm telling you, yeah, it's going to be great.
Before we go into the fight, just want to ask about yourself, your own coaching career. Am I right in thinking you did your apprenticeship in the sort of American northeastern style? Is that right?
Yeah, Midwest. My coach was a great guy. Born in Malta, but he taught me that style, and only a couple of fighters are there to adopt that style. One of them is Yusuf Kamari, who's here. Very difficult style to teach. Rolling shots with the shoulders and stuff. We don't really see that too often here, but Yusuf's been clever enough to do it. I've had one other fight, but obviously, unfortunately, he had to retire from injury when he was in the amateurs. But yeah, it's a difficult style to teach, but honestly, everything I do is in honour of my coach because he put so much time into me, and we were preparing for me to be a world champion, and I didn't pass my medical, unfortunately, so I became a coach.
Colloquially, is that referred to as the so-called Philly shell, but it's actually, is it practiced sort of in that whole sort of region?
Yeah, I mean, listen,
Chicago, Detroit.
Yeah, American fighters, especially on that side, Ohio and so on. Those guys, they've got a nice, loose, slim, relaxed sort of style, and that's the way I used to box. That's why it was pretty easy for me to teach someone who had the intelligence to do it. But the guys that I've got now, they're smart enough. They've understood it. It's taken a while, but primed and ready.
Is it fair to say, is that arguably the most technical style?
I think it's the most difficult style to teach. It is. It takes a long time, and to be honest with you, you've got to take a lot of beatings doing it, because for you to get your timing right, your angles right, you take a lot. But once you get it, and it clicks, you're good.
The reason I asked him my favourite fighter growing up, certainly James Toney.
Yeah, of course.
Probably the best practitioner of that art, would you say?
Yeah, we had another guy over here who doesn't really get enough mention, Ian Napa. Fantastic, same similar sort of style, and I think he was a flyweight, but he had that skill set. But they don't really talk about him too much, unfortunately. But yeah, we've had a couple of them here as well.
So onto this fight. The conventional thinking amongst most people is always that Dillian's feet aren't quick enough to close the distance against such a mobile and tall fighter like Tyson. Are there specific technical adjustments that can be made to compensate for slower feet in the same way sometimes slower-handed fighters can still get to faster?
Well, I don't agree with him about the feet anyway. Dillian boxes the way he boxes because he's comfortable. But he can do a lot of different things, which is what you're going to see. Like I said, you haven't seen the best of him yet. You're going to see it now, and I think it's the competition that he's boxed, and plus locking himself away and mastering his craft. That's why he's ready, primed and ready.
Mm-hmm. Dillian's mentioned a few times here the need to constantly be able to adjust. Is that a nod almost to Fury's own ring craft and ring IQ, that he can adjust on the fly and change things up?
Both fighters can. That's why it's going to be such an intriguing fight. They're both going to be doing that throughout the fight. So, and it's whoever makes the best adjustments. And obviously, I already know what's going to happen on Saturday. I have to scream and shout about it too much. I just want Dillian to be lifting that world title and go on and defend, make history.
I think it was after the Povetkin rematch you made it clear you want Tyson Fury next. Was it because you do see something in him that you think can be exploited?
It's before that. When I met Dillian, I said that's the guy I want. I want to get ready for that guy. I think style-wise, to me, it's a great fight. And listen, Dillian's done things the hard way. You know, like I said, he's done it the hard way, and this is no different. You're fighting, you know, the #1 guy with the WBC title. Again, Dillian doesn't want to do it any other way but the hard way, and that's why I respect him.
And Dillian has mentioned as well that he thinks the reason Fury is, in the last couple of fights, at least with Wilder, you know, slugging, is because he thinks maybe his legs are gone.
I don't buy into that either. I don't buy into that stuff. I think, listen, you change the way you fight depending on who you're fighting. You know, that's why these guys are able to adapt. You know, I don't buy into any of that stuff of what people say anyway, because on the night it could look completely different. You know, so we just work.
Sure. Although even Shane Fury made an interesting point. I think he was talking to my colleagues over at IFL yesterday that at age 34, inevitably there will be some decline.
Well, not yet.
No?
Not yet.
You don't see any decline in Fury?
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, he's got a different coach with a different style. He's got a different coach with a different style. He's trying something. He's doing something different. Fair play.
And you've got Harold being assisting in the camp. Lennox Lewis made this point on the debate. It could be Kronk v Kronk. Is he giving some insight into some of the stylistic
not at all.
quirks of the Kronk style?
No, it's not really about that. Harold is experienced and been around long enough to know that this is Dillian Whyte. Dillian fights the way he fights, you know, and it's about improving him and working on his style. We don't want to be anyone else or associate with anybody else. You know, we're doing our own thing. You know, that's why our team is so tight. We're ready.
Okay,
and I'll just wrap it up because the security want us to move on. On one of the other fighters, Yusuf, he's never shy to call people out. Who do you want for him next? Kakati needs an opponent.
Well, I can tell you this much: I won't be taking no late notice fight for Yusuf Kamari. Yusuf's been around a long time. He's had a good amateur career. You know, he's had 3 good fights back to back: the Baker fight, Rodriguez fight, and the Casadeda fight. And he's high level. He's high grade. You know, you can't call me last minute for a Yusuf Kamari fight. You know, it'll be a full training camp. You know, this is a kid that I've been building since he's about 15 years old. He's not an old fighter where you get a last minute call and it's desperate. No, I'll take the fights when I feel is the right time. And within the next 12-18 months, well timed.
Look forward to that. He was a great kid. Just to finish, do you have a prediction on Saturday night?
Victory. That's it. The win. That's it.
Let's go. Xavier,
TBV.
time.
Respect, man.
Video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.